Tuesday morning didn't feel ordinary. The coffee went cold on my desk while I reread notes from a private conversation that left me sitting still long after the screen went dark. The disappearance dominating headlines has stretched into its 10th day. Search teams continue combing through rugged terrain. Investigators are working carefully and quietly. And at the center of it all is Savannah Guthrie. Composed, measured, visibly steady in public. That steadiness has sparked endless commentary. But what shifted my understanding wasn't a press conference or official update. It was something shared quietly by Barrymore in a small, private conversation among friends. Not a performance. Not a headline grab. Just reflection. And what she offered wasn't gossip. It was context, deeply human context, that reframed everything I thought I was seeing. Drew's tone wasn't dramatic. It was thoughtful. The call wasn't designed to become a story. It was meant to be a check-in among women who've crossed paths at industry events, charity panels, and backstage moments over the years. Drew appeared the way she often does off-camera, relaxed, thoughtful, hair pulled back, no spectacle. The mood was concerned, not sensational. At first, we were simply sharing how heavy the situation felt. Then Drew grew quiet. Her voice softened. "I've been thinking about Savannah," she said, "and about her mom." What followed wasn't an exposé. It was insight shaped by observation and empathy. Drew has spoken openly about her own complicated upbringing, about rebuilding her sense of self. From that place of self-awareness, she began describing what she believes shaped Savannah's remarkable composure. And the room, even a virtual one, leaned in. A different kind of mother-daughter dynamic. Drew explained that Savannah often speaks about her mother with admiration and pride. She describes her as strong, disciplined, deeply loving. According to Drew, that strength wasn't abstract. It was lived daily. After becoming a single parent, Savannah's mother built a home centered on resilience and expectation. Not harshness, but high standards. Love was steady, but strength was emphasized. It wasn't about perfection, Drew said carefully. It was about toughness. In that environment, resilience becomes identity. You don't collapse, you recalibrate. You don't panic, you prepare. Drew wasn't criticizing that approach. She was acknowledging how formative it can be. When a child grows up equating composure with maturity, that lesson doesn't fade. It becomes reflex. And reflex is what we may be witnessing now. Composure as a learned language. One of the most striking observations Drew made centered on how Savannah communicates publicly. Structured, sequential, grounded. Drew suggested that this isn't accidental, it's patterned. When faced with stress, Savannah gathers herself before speaking. Gratitude first, context second, appeal third. That format mirrors journalistic training, yes, but Drew believes it also mirrors upbringing. If strength was modeled as the highest form of steadiness, then public composure becomes almost instinctive. It's not that she isn't feeling, Drew clarified. It's that she organizes feeling. That distinction matters. Many viewers equate visible emotion with authenticity, but not everyone expresses distress outwardly. For some, calm presentation is the coping mechanism. Drew's reflection gently challenged the idea that tears are the only sign of depth. The pressure to be the strong one. Drew spoke carefully about something more nuanced, the quiet pressure that can accompany admiration. When a parent models extraordinary resilience, a child may internalize the need to match it, not because love is absent, but because love feels intertwined with strength. If you're praised for handling things well, Drew said, you learn to handle things well. Over time, that handling becomes identity, and when crisis strikes, The instinct isn't to unravel publicly, it's to hold the line. Drew wondered aloud whether Savannah might feel compelled to embody steadiness not only for viewers, but for the memory of her mother's example. That doesn't mean love was conditional. It means resilience was central, and central values shape behavior during unimaginable stress. Why the videos feel so measured. Many people have commented on how composed Savannah appears in her public messages. Drew suggested re-watching them with compassion instead of critique. Notice the structure. Notice the tone. Notice how each statement begins with gratitude before transitioning into request. That's someone choosing steadiness, Drew said. She described it not as performance, but as alignment. When chaos threatens control, structure restores it. In a life shaped by discipline and preparedness, measured communication feels safer than emotional volatility. Drew emphasized that this does not diminish the gravity of what Savannah may be feeling privately. It simply means the outward presentation follows a lifetime of reinforcement. Stay grounded, speak clearly, lead with strength. Private emotion, public responsibility. Drew's reflections weren't about hidden drama. They were about internal wiring. She acknowledged that Savannah operates in a role where millions look to her for clarity every morning. That responsibility doesn't pause during personal hardship. The instinct to remain collected may be amplified by that reality. But Drew also expressed concern, not alarm, just care, about the toll of sustained composure. When you're the strong one, she said, people forget you need somewhere to soften. Strength is admirable. It's also heavy. And during prolonged uncertainty, carrying it alone can feel isolating. Drew's tone here wasn't speculative. It was empathetic. She spoke as someone who has done years of work unpacking her own family patterns and understands how early lessons echo into adulthood. Motherhood and breaking cycles. At one point, someone asked whether those patterns extend into Savannah's own parenting. Drew smiled gently. She described Savannah as affectionate, engaged, present with her children. She lets them feel, Drew said. That observation shifted the mood from analysis to hope. In many families, each generation refines what it inherited. Strength doesn't disappear, it evolves. Perhaps what we're seeing isn't rigid repetition, but thoughtful balance. Drew believes Savannah is capable of honoring her mother's resilience, while also allowing space for vulnerability within her own household. That possibility reframes the narrative from pressure to growth. Patterns influence us. They do not imprison us. Compassion. Over commentary. As the call wound down, Drew returned to a simple point. We should lead with empathy. Public figures are often reduced to surface impressions. Calm becomes cold. Measured becomes calculated. But human beings are more layered than headlines allow. Drew urged us not to script someone else's grief. Some people cry in front of cameras. Others process in private and step forward only when ready. Neither response is more authentic than the other. Savannah's steadiness, in Drew's view, reflects lifelong conditioning toward composure, not absence of emotion. And during ongoing uncertainty, compassion matters more than interpretation. The real takeaway, what Drew shared that morning, wasn't explosive. It was clarifying. She didn't unveil secrets or accuse anyone of wrongdoing. She described a dynamic shaped by resilience, admiration, and high expectations, the kind many families recognize in quieter forms. If there is a truth in her reflection, it's this. Strength can be both gift and burden. Savannah's composure may be sustaining her right now. It may also be costing her privately. Both can coexist. And perhaps the most meaningful support any of us can offer isn't analysis of tone or timing. It's patience. It's grace. It's the understanding that no one navigating uncertainty owes the world a specific emotional display. In the end, Drew didn't drop a bomb. She opened a window. And sometimes, a window is enough to help us see a person, not a headline, a little more clearly.